I think it says we're live. Hello, Internet.
Hey there, Internet.
How are you? Already stepped on the guests. It only took 2 seconds.
Welcome to episode
172?
172 of Outrage Factory, the podcast where we look at the things that made people mad online and explain why they're dumb for caring. As always, I'm your co-host, Derek Bolin.
I'm your other co-host, Dale DeRuiter. And with us today, we have Tex Quackenberg.
Local expert and authority on everything, as you can tell by the blazer and glasses.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we told them not to dress fancier than us, but it's okay.
It's a low bar. Tex, how you doing, man?
Doing fantastic. Thank you.
Awesome.
All right, good. You enjoying your long weekend?
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's great.
Are you going to make sure you pay patronage to the Queen Victoria tomorrow?
Yeah, gotta give it up for the Queen.
That's Queen style.
I'll do that by going to work.
Oh.
Wait, Queen Victoria. I was like, I literally just had to Google this. I was like, Queen Victoria is not the current queen, is she?
She's been dead for a while.
Yeah, over a century by the looks of it. But thanks, Victoria, for giving us a day off in your honor. For those of you tuning in from outside Canada, this is May long weekend. This is a historical kickoff to summer. Traditionally, It's like Memorial Day, but Canadian. So of course we honor the Queen instead of the military.
Yeah. And then we get another month of rain before summer actually happens.
Yeah, this is the day all the kids, high school kids, go camping and get alcohol poisoning and then get rained on and be like, well, it's summer now. I started it off.
We're doing it.
Back to the Queen thing.
Wait, what is it? This is white boy summer, isn't it? White.
It's always white boy summer, Derek.
Yeah, but this one, who was it? Was it Tom Hanks' son? Some dipshit celebrity kid was like, "This is white boy summer. I can feel it," and just got roasted online for it.
I thought everybody said that all the time. Like it was like hot girl summer, hot white boy summer, fat white boy summer. It's pretty much. I've only ever used those ironically as a joke. So if he said that, being like, yo, this is white boy summer and meant it, then he should have gotten roasted.
Yeah. It was Chet Hanks, Tom Hanks' son.
The shitty Hanks son.
Yeah.
Because there's Colin Hanks, who's
the black
awesome.
Sheep of the Hanks family.
I think you're sort of you're cursed from the beginning, but with a name like Chet anyways. He's forever going to be a douchebag.
That's pretty much the male version of Karen, isn't it?
Yeah, you can blame the parents for that one.
Yeah.
I think Chet would be he'd be like a nephew of Karen.
That's a good point. It'd be like, let's hear what Chet has to say. And you're like, how about we don't? Back to that Queen thing. Right now it's Queen Elizabeth, or is it Queen Elizabeth II?
Queen Elizabeth II, I believe.
And this is the one. I looked this up a while ago because I can't remember why. I was going to make a point and then I never did. Where I think she's been in rule since 57 because she's in her 69th year. Heyo, nice.
Hey, nice.
She's in her 69th year of rule. First queen without a king, I believe, in the British Empire.
They call that the Nicentennial.
Hey, huh? Yeah. So basically, I don't know. Can I say we're not part of a patriarchy, or does that just sound like petulant for me to say? Because we still have a male prime minister, I guess.
I think the way society is structured is still very much in a way that benefits white dudes. What up, white boy summer? Let's go.
We're already canceled.
I think the fact that we have a queen doesn't necessarily negate that. But then again, what the fuck do I know? Absolutely nothing, which is why I'm here on a podcast to lecture people about their opinions.
Yeah. Well, instead of having opinions, let's just make fun of people's opinions for what they talk about.
Only way to fly.
Mm-hmm.
I came with a few opinions today. I don't know if that's okay.
Love it. Let's get into it, Tex.
Uninformed ones.
This is a safe space. As uninformed as you want, you can express all your opinions.
The less informed, the better, because then maybe Dale and I seem like moderately intelligent in comparison.
That's why you had me on today. Okay, I
get it. What do you guys want to get into first? Derek, we were walking around today, and you said you had some stern opinions on Biden driving a truck.
Well, I was just like, we can talk about it. I mean, my opinion mostly was that modern liberalism is a literal brain disorder where like it's all about fucking optics and like. But there was this picture of like Biden doing a photo op in a Ford truck, and he was talking about how fast it was, and people were tweeting online, and they were like, "Oh, this is such a big improvement from that photo of Trump sitting in a semi and like bellowing and pretending to honk the horn," which is an all-time classic. I gotta say,
I gotta say that was the only endearing moment of his entire presidency. Seeing him, a grown 70-year-old man, looking like a little kid, honking the
horn. Yeah, it's like that was the most relatable he ever was.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, Biden's doing this photo op in a fucking Ford truck, and all he's thinking is, how can we pack this thing with explosive and drive it into a crowd of Palestinian children? And it's just like everyone's just like fucking like singing this guy's praises, and he's done like, policy wise, I don't even know what the fuck the guy's done, but like
he wrote the 94 crime bill. That's the worst one I could think of off the top of my head.
Stimmies, and hand note stimmies.
Yeah,
he is handing out. Yeah,
he also was there for the other two wars in like the Operation Desert Storm 1 and 2. He was there,
and the Israel-Palestine thing has been like ongoing, and they've always had American military support. But you have all these progressives who are like, I don't know how anyone who's like a true progressive can look at Biden and be like, that's our guy. It's a win for us having this guy in the White House. He's like a less offensive, and like it's all about fucking optics, right? Like he can say that he's an ally to minorities, and he can say he's an ally to LGBTQ, and he can say he's an ally to fucking whoever, the left, but like I don't know policy wise that he is doing anything meaningful or substantial that's a departure from what the previous guy was doing, and even Obama before that. Like there's no fucking difference, except that he can string a sentence together and doesn't like get on stage and berate, other world leaders. So diplomacy.
I think the key of this last election, I didn't know we're going to talk about American politics, but you had two ancient motherfuckers, and it was really who can we elect with the possibility of their VPs becoming president. And the likely thing of Kamala Harris versus Pence,
Mike Pence, yeah.
What's better in the long run? I think that people were like, well, let's give that the chance of Biden dying and having Kamala Harris as a president being way more positive potential than what's it? Yeah.
I think most people were like, Pence is a fucking nightmare. Let's get this girl who put all those people in jail with all of her fucking when she was the top cop or whatever.
Who basically she criminalized poverty, which I don't know if there's anything more American than making poor people illegal. That's the American dream right there. Yeah. Am I right?
Right. My problem with the whole back to the Biden driving around in a Ford, it was like, wait, what? Like, I get how, like, I feel like he was probably like, this will show everybody that I'm for green power. When it just, everybody's like, wait, is he like officially sponsored Ford president now? Like, why didn't he drive a Prius or one of the other electrical or hybrid vehicles that were out there?
I think that because America and trucks go together, especially the side of the aisle that don't like Biden.
Oh,
the image of him promoting a manlier electric vehicle. I mean, true. I gotta say that thing can fucking go. Mm-hmm. You see that video? It's Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was a fast. That was a fast truck.
Wait, is that
sorry.
thing full electric or is it?
Yeah, it's full
hybrid?
electric.
Damn.
It's like all the numbers that I should know what they mean, like the torque and horsepower and stuff, they said is higher than a regular F-150. So I'm impressed.
I think they said it was 0 to 60 in 4.3 or something like that, which is
yeah. They were like brake horsepower, and I'm like, how is that different than regular horsepower? And I don't know. Like, you figure I'd know this stuff since I'm a welder, and people just assume I know man stuff, but I don't. I barely know what horsepower is, and basically the more horsepower a truck has, the faster it goes. That's the limit of my knowledge on trucks.
I'm just reading about this. I didn't know it was full of. That's impressive for like eat shit Elon Musk, because fucking I don't actually know how Teslas perform, but I don't know if you
Teslas are fucking bonkers. I don't know how well the truck is, but yeah, like Tesla's like the full. They have the insanity mode or something, and they go like 0 to a 60 in like less than 2 seconds. But those are cars, and I don't think the Tesla truck is production ready. Whereas the Ford F-150 is supposed to be production ready, I think either the end of this year or the beginning of next year. So we could start seeing those on the road.
Seeing and not hearing, which is the only thing I don't like about electric cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be weird to just fucking like, because you're used to at least getting that like that sensory experience of like this thing fucking like making a lot of noise.
Vroom, vroom.
Yeah, exactly. Is it as exciting to be in a completely silent vehicle?
I'm pretty sure there's some fucking young dudes who are going to figure out how to make those loud and obnoxious, just like their Civics with the fucking tailpipes and shit.
You just put a couple playing cards in the spokes, and then,
or they'll get like a speaker and just be like,
yeah,
as they're driving around. There was that Vince Vaughn, I forget, the Kevin James movie where the whole point of the movie was they were trying to figure out how to make an electronic car sound like a big meaty car, and it was all like through the sound system and stuff.
We got to start having like a swear jar, but it's every time you reference a conspiracy theory or a Kevin James movie, you have to pay into it.
But this time it wasn't me just bringing up Kevin James because I love Kevin James. It was actually pertinent to the conversation, because in the movie they had a Challenger and they're trying to like pitch having an electric Challenger to Dodge and stuff. So
is this a real movie?
Yeah, it's a real movie. Here, let me Google it to find out what it is. Kevin James.
The last time you guys had me on, I think I made Dale do shots every time he did something that he...
Every time, yeah. Partners in an auto design firm. Oh, yeah. It's got it rating 24% on Rotten Tomatoes. Why am I not surprised?
But that was out in 2011. So if Kevin James and Vince Vaughn solved this problem 10 years ago, what's Ford waiting for? Like, just go watch that movie and figure it out.
Figure it out, Ford. And then get Joe Biden to do another fucking staged photo op in your shitty electric truck.
Yeah, that just like, it'll be the same video exactly, except for it'll be exceptionally loud, and it'll just be Biden driving like this, covering his ears with
it's just the main thing that pissed me off about that was the the Israel-Palestine conflict is going on. And Joe Biden's posting this like Ford thing, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's so great that Joe Biden's in this Ford."
Well, people like happy news, people they want distraction.
I guess maybe it was a nice departure from all that, but it just like it's like read the room, Joe.
Yeah, exactly.
Joe Biden.
All right, Dale. You got anything else to say?
Adventures about to begin.
No, that's it. That's it for the whole podcast.
Is that you?
Tex?
My bad.
Tex doing some research on the fly.
Are you watching the Joe Biden video and the commercial came up?
He's queuing up The Dilemma, the 2011 smash hit starring Vince Vaughn and Kevin James.
I mean, you can't go wrong with Vince Vaughn and Kevin James. I can't say how good the show or the movie actually was because apparently I like Kevin James' movie and nobody else does.
I
Yeah,
can say if
don't-
there was ever a summer to watch a Vince Vaughn, Kevin James movie, it is 2021 White Boy Summer. Watch that movie. It will shine like a fucking diamond. It'll be beautiful. Watch
Yes.
it. I bet it holds up.
Yes, it'll change your life. I'm not saying for the good or for the bad. You just watch it. Next, we could talk about this handstand breastfeeding because so an Australian snowboarder, Olympic,
yeah,
Olympian
athlete.
Yeah, Olympian athlete, but she was also like a legend apparently in Australia. So she posts this picture on her Instagram of her doing a yoga handstand whilst breastfeeding her son named Flo at the same time. And she got a bunch of negative press and people were not happy, but some people were happy. And on our Instagram, or not our Instagram, on our Twitter, I said I started this new thing Wednesday, yay or nay, and I posted the picture and I was like, well, what do you guys think? And it was kind of split down the middle. People were, most of the nays were like, this is fucking awkward. Why is she like naked doing a handstand breastfeeding her kid? And then the yays were like, yeah, girl power. Like this is better than postpartum depression and good for her. Normalized breastfeeding and all that typical stuff. So you guys saw the video. What do you think?
I mean,
the photo. Sorry.
I think that is the perfect thing for social media. Like what I go there for ridiculous shit, exhibitionism, boobs. I mean,
this is the trifecta. Like it just covered all the bases.
You know, and the only thing missing is cats. There's no cats in the video or the pictures. Right? You know, to get offended by someone like that is it's ridiculous. Like it don't go on social media.
Yeah, that's true. My thing about it was I was like, you're kind of ruining this perfectly good thirst trap video by making it awkward. Like she's doing a handstand. She's not wearing a top. She's wearing skimpy underwear so she could show off her sexy butt. And she looks good for having a child that young. But then you're like, yeah, that girl looks good. Her body looks good. And then you're like, but there's a baby in the picture. And that makes it awkward.
But the baby is blocking the nipples, which makes it social media friendly.
That's true.
Yeah, the baby was basically a sensor. I don't know that it was necessarily a thirst. I mean, it was definitely like a thirst trap in that, like, pay attention to me, please. Because why else? And this goes for anyone posting any kind of fucking handstand on social media. It's like there's no practical use for doing a handstand. If you're doing that and you're posting it to social media, it's to show off that you can do a handstand. There's no other reason to do it. Doubly so. But I don't know why people were offended, like why people were so bothered by it. Like, so she wanted to do there's lots of breastfeeding
people that are generally offended by breastfeeding in
general. Like, yeah, we should raise those kids' feet, like fucking bring up children. They should start eating like corn syrup or high fructose, fucking whatever at birth. And that is God's food. That is what children should be eating.
Yeah,
there's no place.
Put a blanket dome over your entire life for the first. How long did people breastfeed for?
I think up to 4 years,
18 months.
I think it's
2 years.
Is it? I figured like 1 year was kind of the like standard, but I don't. Do people go that long beyond that?
People go like 7. Like there's like weirdo hippie ladies.
Well, you're watching Game of Thrones.
That's true. Yeah, no, I'd say about year and a half. I mean, if there's anybody who knows how long you're supposed to breastfeed, it's 3 white dudes.
Yeah, we are the resident experts on breastfeeding.
Well, one of these white dudes has a child, so he would probably know the best.
I have no idea. Like, I'm just like, I think like 1 year is what the World Health Organization recommends, but they, they're not doing so hot in the credibility department these days. So it's anyone's guess.
Yeah, a lot of people who were criticizing it were just saying that it's unnecessary, and they're like, we don't think, like, nobody was like your kid should be taken away from you, but like there are people who are like, you're a miracle woman, way to slay it, girl.
What we're gonna say that people shouldn't be posting unnecessary or gratuitous shit on social media now? Like,
It wouldn't
okay,
exist.
yeah,
wouldn't exist.
goodbye Instagram, you're not a thing anymore.
I mean, I would prefer, like I said before, I would prefer thirst trap videos without a baby involved so that I could keep those two portions of my brain separate. But I don't know, like, I feel like it's kind of like, it's like, yeah, you see this stuff all the time on Instagram. Basically, Instagram was made for women to garner attention from males, like with Suicide Girls and all that stuff. And this falls in line with that. But then it's just like, I don't know, like, I'm not going to get into the whole body shaming mothers who can't get their body to bounce back as soon, because you hear a lot of women talking about that, because she is already really fit after having her kid. I think her kid looks like 6 months old or so in the photo, maybe a year. He's crawling. So I don't know how that old that is. But yeah, basically, I don't know. I'm on the fence. Like, it just looks awkward to me. But I'm not against it because there's breastfeeding in the photo.
I'm against it based on like handstands, but that's not the breastfeeding. Fuck whatever.
Fuck handstands.
I'm against handstands on principle. That's, you know, if we were meant to fucking stand on our hands, God would have given us legs for arms, man.
Okay, so you guys are basically, we're all okay with nudity and cleavage and stuff on social media. How do you feel about them in yearbooks?
Oh shit, I was gonna say I'm all for it, but then I remembered that yearbooks are for people in high school.
Yeah,
so,
yes. Good segue, by the way, Dale.
Thank you.
That was fantastic. All-time great.
Yeah, I say that was 172 episodes. Probably one of the best ones yet.
Yeah, thank you. I like how every time there is actually a good segue, we have to talk about it for 5 minutes because we're so used to clunky bad ones. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Do you want to?
No, you go ahead. I'm going to pull it up so I could give the listener info about where this is and what happened. And
are you going to show
that.
a graphic? Because you should show a graphic of that the girl's shirt that got photoshopped, because that's amazing.
Oh yeah, here I'll post that in the comments, and then if you're listening to this off of the website or iTunes or whatever, go to the YouTube video and I will have put the picture in so you could see what we're talking about, because not only is it they photoshopped out cleavage, but it is a terrible Photoshop job.
I just looked at it. Oh my fucking God. It's like,
right?
It's like an open like plaid shirt, and they just like edited it to be like it looks like a fucking frock. Like they just cut like a piece of fabric, and like this is the worst Photoshop job I've ever seen in my life.
So this comes from St. Johns County, Florida. The Bartram Trail High School yearbook coordinator made the decision to alter 80 photos of female students that
80 photos.
In the school's yearbook, the district confirmed Friday. So basically, she was saying that the school has a dress code, and anybody who, I guess, broke the school dress code for their pictures, she went in and photoshopped out all the cleavage and the bare arms and stuff. So, the funny thing was, it's only the like headshot photos. Anytime there was a student, like a male student with his shirt off completely, or like a girl wearing like one of the same cleavage shirts in one of the like
the candid shots
that are through, she left those, but it was just the ones in this. And she said last year, up until this year, if students broke the dress code for their photos, their photo would just not be involved. So she was being like, she was trying to be the nice person. She's like, well, I didn't want them to go without a photo, so I just took it upon myself to Photoshop it and make it so the photo could still go in. And she did a terrible job photoshopping.
Just a truly fucking awful job.
But I mean, I guess we shouldn't expect all people who work at schools to be good at Photoshops.
I mean, if you're working in a school in the yearbook department in some podunk town in Florida, like there are not a lot of high expectations of your skill level of anything. I think anything. I don't know. Have you ever heard of St. John's, Florida, before in your life?
No, I haven't.
No.
Unless there was a Florida man story out of there.
Yeah. Florida man sucks at Photoshop. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird that, I mean, it's shitty for the students involved. It's super shitty that it was only, I mean, it's obviously only going to be females in the portrait photos because they're the only ones with anything remotely sexual from the waist up. Like dudes probably had shirts on, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But this school also has been under fire for enforcing dress code violations against girls specifically, and like sending them to the dean's office and basically forcing them to like get changed or be suspended or go home. And it seems like a really, like, they're not allowed to show bare shoulders, which, like, I don't know if you guys have ever been in fucking Florida in May, but you don't want to
That's a good point.
You're not going to be walking around with long sleeves on. Like, it's not a Florida thing to do. So I don't know. It's fucked up and weird. And it's like, I'm not sure what's worse. Like, not just letting teen girls dress like teen girls, or like being bizarrely prudish and like almost like over sexualizing them and being like, well, you can't show any cleavage, so I'm gonna like do the world's worst fucking Photoshop job to make sure that you don't.
Yeah, I mean, and also I wonder if, I guess it doesn't say whether or not, like, because you know how you get like school pictures, you could get like your grad photo or whatever, you get the photo back. I don't think those were edited. Well, not the grad photos because they're usually wearing the robes. But yeah, they said they were offering the students, anybody who had their picture altered, they'd give them $100 refund because their photo of themselves was altered and they felt bad afterwards. Yeah, so I don't know. It's like, sorry?
That's $8,000.
Yeah. I want, yeah. That's it's a big chunk of change.
That's quick math.
Yeah. It said, here's a rundown of a little bit of their actual dress code at the school. It says tops and shirts must cover the entire shoulder, and they must be modest and not revealing or distracting. Midriff or cutout dresses and cutout tops may not be worn. Extremely short skirts are not allowed. Skirts must be no shorter than 4 inches above the top of the knee. Revealing clothing, pajamas, and lingerie are not acceptable. Okay, if you're wearing lingerie to school, I'm okay with them enforcing that. That's just awkward, which is, I guess, my new word of the podcast.
Where does that leave all the punk and goth girls? I mean, now we're picking on them.
Yeah,
well, that's true. That's a very good point.
Girls who did the DIY wardrobe and like just fucking smashed together whatever they had around and like raided thrift shops and shit. That's who this harms. This is, again, the US is criminalizing poverty by not allowing teenage girls to assemble outfits out of like patchwork lingerie.
Yeah, and like, what if your clothes just get holes in them because they're old and you're poor and you can't afford nice new shirts? Then you get sent home from school.
It happens that the holes are like just here,
just right there,
and here,
and the sleeves fall off. We've all been there, Tex.
Yeah,
you flex too hard one day and it just shreds the sleeves right off of your shirt.
Happens every day.
I imagine though, being high school students, they're probably like, oh, rips. Like if they're like, okay, since you can't avoid rips in your clothing, those are allowed. So I could just imagine people being like, oh, rip, and like boys ripping their shirts so their nipples showed and stuff like that. Which I wonder if that would get them in trouble, but probably not.
Male nipples are completely, across the board legal.
White boy summer, dude. Show those nips. Show them proudly. It's our time to shine. This summer,
the hairier the better.
Yeah, just let your beautiful boy nipples fly. This is our year. Do it, Tex. Yeah.
Nice.
Too hot for Facebook. All right.
Yeah.
Dale, give us another award.
Okay. Wait. Here's this. You know who's not gonna be having a white boy summer? The Q shaman.
Fuck that guy.
Because he's in jail.
Is he still in jail?
Yeah, he's in jail.
Yeah,
I think they put him in solitary confinement.
What?
He hasn't been charged yet. He's waiting for his charges to come through, and he was doing like a dumb hunger strike because they didn't have the organic vegan food or something that he wanted, which is not something you'd expect from someone who's so right-wing that they stormed the Capitol because they thought Joe Biden stole the election. That right there makes it sound a little suspect that he was just there to fuck around and didn't really care about the politics behind everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because Q Shaman's lawyer said a bunch of very colorful things that I want to read just because I think they're hilarious, but I guess people be warned, they are offensive. So the first thing he said was many Capitol rioters may have brain damage. And then where did he say? Oh yeah, he said, I'm going to find the, sorry. Okay. Defense attorney Albert Watkins raised eyebrows in the court when he told Takey Point's memo earlier this week that I guess that's I'm just going to click on the link to see. I guess Takey Point Memos is just like a website. I don't know if it's a physical publication as well, but anyways, he told them on Jan 6th that, I guess this is an old story then. Still, he said he didn't tell them Jan 6th. He told them the Jan 6 rioters. Sorry, That's my mistake. I'll wear that. Dates are hard. So basically he said that when the Capitol rioters who stormed the Capitol on January 6th were fucking short bus people, they have brain damage and are on the goddamn spectrum and were subjected to 4 years of relentless propaganda. And there was a word thrown out that is my new favorite buzzword. He said they have foxitis.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a fucking good one. For sure. I have a family member who suffers from that deeply. They watch Fox News for about 12 to 16 hours a day. And that is all, like, the only thing they can spout is,
It does, like, you see it, and it actually like rewires your brain. And it's interesting to see. This defense lawyer was particularly colorful about it, but there have been a number of pre-trial hearings so far, and basically the universal defense that a lot of these attorneys are using is that these people were susceptible to propaganda. Mm-hmm. And that they basically had their brains warped specifically by Fox News. And this is like an actual legal defense that a lot of them are entering now, saying that like Fox News is responsible for warping the brains of all these people and turning them against the Capitol. And you kind of have to wonder if there's going to be any long-term ramifications here, because if we look at this group of people and we say Fox News made it basically incited a group of people to storm the U.S. Capitol, should they be permitted to continue doing what they're doing? First Amendment considerations aside, but like it's a fucking problem, and I think it's generally being regarded as like a legitimate problem now that those people have acted on their crazy impulses.
Yeah, I mean, all you had to do was look at the pictures of the people who ran into the Capitol, and I'm not going to say they had became mentally like diminished or challenged because of Fox News. I'm just thinking it's more of a they were in that state of mind, and then so Fox News kind of burrowed its way into their brains a little easier than it should have. Like they maybe didn't have all the cognitive faculties you'd need and the critical thinking to maybe be like, yo, some of this is bullshit. I shouldn't be believing all this.
Well, you know,
And
you have that whole Trump rally, Fox News frenzy that was going on for so long, and the people just,
mhm.
once you're there, it's mob mentality, and they were already there, like they were already drinking the Kool-Aid, and whether it was the Fox News or it was the rallies, people are very malleable when they're in a group. Take any concert for an example.
Yeah.
You got a guy on stage, and if anyone has any remote interest in him, and they go, hey, throw your hands in the air. They go, ah, right? Let's storm the Capitol. Ah, right? It's a group effort. Like once you're in a large gathering,
Mhm.
and you think that everyone there is of the same mind, you're just gonna go along with it. But yeah, I think that Fox News and these Trump rally things just got them there in the first place. They were already on board with overturning the election, overturning it, and all they needed is a little push.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like usually these people have like some labor job where they're sweeping a floor or whatever. And then there's like this perfect storm of like bad luck where it's like the pandemic came in, so all these people weren't going to work and they're sitting at home. Maybe some of them lost their jobs, so they had to like move back in with their parents, and they like can't go out and socialize, so they're like just like sitting inside and being even more exposed. So it's like that's like the answer to like why now basically for Foxitis. It's like these people weren't watching Fox for like 8 years straight. It's like a lot of them, like they say maybe, like these are all like stuff we could suppose happen, but it's like, so basically these guys don't have a job to go to, so they're watching Fox News like you said your relative was for 12 hours a day all of a sudden, instead of like going to their job and sweeping the floor or whatever. So it's like it even just like hits them harder and faster.
Why is their job sweeping the floor?
That's the first job I thought of. Okay, fine, Derek. Maybe I didn't want to be a dickhead and be like these people who obviously can't work at the nuclear factory.
They are
or do
fucking like
complex
They're
math.
not essential workers, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm basically saying it's non-skilled labor, or maybe even like, I don't know. Well, I guess like construction workers and stuff were deemed essential, so they wouldn't have been doing that. Maybe like, I don't know, people stocking shelves in Walmart or whatever.
I think you're right to an extent. Like I think the
I am.
the general brain damage we all suffered as a result of COVID like definitely pushed some people over the edge. But like you've also seen this play out, and I'm sure there's some like liberal publications that maybe like don't do it as bad or as overtly as Fox News, but they're also like everything the right wing does and everything Republicans do is bad.
Mhm.
Here's this bad thing that they did. Here's why you should be angry about it. Fuck yeah, get mad at Republicans all the time. And it's like, you look at the state of US politics and you're like, that's it. And I read this article the other day, and it's basically like, it was all about, you remember that white couple that like pointed guns at BLM protesters in Missouri? And and one of the husband from that couple is now running for office. And
God, of
they're
course he
basically,
is.
well, then that's the thing. They're basically like, there's going to be this rise of political candidates who like stand for nothing, don't know what the fuck they're doing, like have like no reason to get into politics other than to like trigger the other side. And people will vote for them because of that. And we're going to see this shit happening more and more on both sides. Is like, if you can make Republicans or you can make Democrats angry, and we're going to troll them by electing you to office, and it's going to be a big fucking win for us. You're going to see this shit happening more and more. And it's just like, okay, well, what does that mean for like politics? Like, who's going to go in there and be like, I'm actually prepared to like represent my constituents and do what's best for them, and not just I'm prepared to go in there. There's this one fucking dipshit candidate from like North Carolina. He was like the white college student who was in a wheelchair.
White boy summer.
White boy summer, except for this guy because he's a fucking idiot. But his whole thing is like this guy just got elected to like trigger liberals, and that's it. And like every tweet he does, he's like, "Oh, fucking in your face, liberals!" And it's like, dude, you're an elected official. Like, fucking do something that you're supposed to do in the job you have, because if all you're doing is like trolling the left, you can do that with a Twitter account. We don't need to like vote you into office and pay you a taxpayer salary to do that. What was my point?
No
I'm
idea.
just going for the ride.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming along with me.
One thing I was going to say back when you were saying, back when we're talking about how like I can't remember exactly what you were said, but somehow like this wasn't affecting the left people as much. But I think that's also because the left kind of were like the left news media and stuff were attacking so many different targets, and they wouldn't set their sights on one specific target for long. So it'd be like Gina Carano would be getting canceled, and then it would be some other celebrity. Then Donald Trump did something bad. So it's like them just attacking everybody for everything kind of saved a lot of people this sort of thing, because it didn't give them the hyper focus like Fox did, where it was just like Joe Biden's bad and the liberals are bad. Whereas there it was like all these people are bad because they're breaking all these different specific rules instead of just the one main focus. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Looking at some blank faces.
No, and I think they're just like Fox News is like really, really good. Like they've elevated it to a science where they just like, I mean, it's a 24-hour news channel, and for all 24 hours, they're repeating the same, like, you should be mad at liberals for this reason. BLM is a terrorist organization for this reason. Everyone you don't agree with is Antifa for this reason. And they're really fucking good at it. But I don't know that what's going to happen now that people are like, well, they almost caused the democracy to be overthrown in the United States.
Yeah, but most Foxitis sufferers still fully believe that this is that the election was stolen, and that we're living in they are living in some sort of terrorist organization right now. Trump's still their leader, who's, by the way, starting to do rallies again.
Oh God!
For whatever fucking reason, God.
Because he's a social vampire and he needs all their energy. Yeah, I remember some of the, I don't know if they still believe this, but a lot of them were like, Joe Biden hasn't given his commencement speech yet, so he's not actually the president. And it's like, well, so I was like, what? Is that a thing? And there's like, no other president gives a commencement speech, or wasn't a commencement speech. It was a speech from, I don't know. Oh, an address to the nation or something.
He did one already though.
Yeah, but it was like all the other presidents don't usually do those the first year or the first 90 days or whatever they're elected either. So it was just
State of the Union.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were saying that's why he wasn't, but it's like, yeah, no president was doing that. So it's like, oh, so, and they were like, oh, Trump could still come back and put all these, I don't know, people in jail and still drain the swamps. I don't know, because they're like all that Q stuff. I wonder if anybody still believes any of that shit.
There's a documentary series out right now.
Are they still putting out like new
Q drops?
Like, well, yeah, like does Q still exist? Are they still?
It's kind of like dissipated, and it's like for the most part disintegrated. And the conversation now is how do you take these people that were hardcore Q believers and bring them back into society because they've alienated everybody, and they were just so hardcore in their belief that Trump was their savior of whatever it was they believed. Because everything that happened up until January kind of went along with the narrative, and then suddenly just nothing made sense anymore.
Well, yeah, even after like Trump had lost the election, they were like, you saw a lot of these people being like holding on hope and being like, no, this is just like the next step in the master plan, and Trump's going to show up with like military and overthrow and like seize control and whatever the fuck else. And then I think like as they just continued losing legal challenges and Trump scuttled off to fucking Florida to hide out at a resort, I think they finally had to, like, they were forced to admit that it was, at least to some, I don't know if anyone's admitting, because no one ever wants to be like, oh, I spent the last like 4 years of my life believing in nothing. So I don't know if they could. What we should do is just like have someone step in as Q and just be like, okay, QAnons, our next target is climate change.
Yeah.
We're gonna jump in and instead of eliminating the scourge of pedophilia, our next target, we're gonna stop carbon emissions in our respective and then like, mobilize them as a force for good instead of craziness.
The most hilarious thing would be is
or not
if Q came in and was like, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do these 12 steps to make our lives better. And it just like transitioned into Jordan Peterson and be like, make your bed in the morning. That'll make you feel better. That way you won't have mental depression. And it just like sort of like starts building them back up. Like, as it's like, because let's just admit it, all QAnon people, like I'd say 95% of them are like disillusioned males who could use like a good father figure that would kind of point them in the right direction.
Not Jordan Peterson.
I'm just saying he's the guy.
Not Jordan Peterson.
What if Jordan Peterson was like, I'm Q. I wasn't in Russia in a coma. I was actually leading the nation. That would be nuts. Oh, Texas,
good Canadian.
Did you watch that whole HBO documentary? What was it? Q Nation or
no,
Q
but
something?
Into.
Yeah, I watched the first 2 episodes and apparently, and I gave up. I was like, this is kind of like just kind of dumb. And it was because it's all behind, like it starts off and they go to Korea and they talk to the guys who run 8chan, and it's just kind of following. It's like a dad and his kid who run 8chan. So it was like the dad bought it for whatever reason. It's not clear. And then his son is running it. And it's very like Tiger King-ish. Yeah, it's like very Tiger King-ish.
Q? They say I might be cute. Yeah. I'm like,
Yeah. And I was like, because then they like, because the guy who built 8chan is in that too. And he's like a guy in a wheelchair and stuff. And then it goes the Tiger King route where it's just like, shows you how like weird and messed up their lives are and how they like have bad interpersonal relationships. But then I heard that like episode 4, it gets really good and it kind of gets like into the grists of the whole QAnon thing. But from the first 2 episodes, it didn't answer anything. It was just like, this person isn't QAnon and neither is this person.
I think the answer is that no one is QAnon.
Yeah.
We are all QAnon.
I still think it's Steve Bannon just because that was the first one someone said it was. And I was like, that makes sense to me. I don't know enough about it.
Checks out.
Sure. That guy.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Hey, Dale, did you see the breaking news?
What's the breaking news? Did the Oilers lose?
That the Edmonton Oilers blew a 3-goal lead in the third period and lost 5-4 to the Winnipeg Jets and are now down. I wanted to tell you to see the disappointment firsthand on your face. So, yeah.
I was ignoring that to be professional on the podcast, Derek. That is a real kick in the dick because like you said, they're up 4-1 at one point.
Yeah. Well,
it's a good thing this isn't sports podcast, so I don't have to do well on it.
Sports are pain.
It's just like anything else in life. As soon as you're emotionally invested, you just get hurt.
Speaking of getting hurt, no, I don't know.
And sports.
I think we have time for one more topic, so I'll let you pick your favorite. Or Tex, did you have anything that you were especially angry about this week that you wanted to weigh in on the podcast?
No, I was really hoping that we would glom over the sports topic that Dale had sent me, but
I mean, we
were going there just now.
I mean, we don't have to talk about
it.
I don't think any of our listeners are real big sports fans either, and we did hit the sports pretty heavy last week, so I don't want to hit it twice and then them get all upset. That was more just well, I guess we should just say what it was. So what it was game 1 of the Toronto Maple Leafs Montreal Canadiens playoff series. The Toronto Maple Leafs captain John Tavares got hurt very badly. He got kneed in the head.
Took a knee to the head
as he was going down, and then it was like he had to get taken off on a stretcher. And then the next day
he was fucked up.
Yeah, the next day the Toronto Sun on their cover, they ran the headline "Captain Crunched," and it was a picture of John Tavares like kind of like out of it with like a little bit of blood on his face, and everybody was super upset because it was very insensitive.
This is also a Toronto newspaper. Like I could see like someone in like a rival city running that, but to do that in your own market with your own beloved hockey captain, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they sold some copies or got some clicks or whatever. I mean, Outrage is a pretty substantial marketing tool these days. Like if you can piss people off, they'll look at what you're selling.
I.e. the last 5 years of social media in general. It's either if you don't have tits, just piss people off to get likes. That's basically how it works.
You should lead with that quote for this episode because I'm sure it will have the effect you're looking for.
That should be the new tagline.
Fuck.
The best part about that tagline is it'll piss everybody off who is a female. I skirted around it there.
Thank you, Dale.
Do you guys want to talk about the Horgan thing at all?
Sure, we can do it really. I mean, you and I talked about it a bit on our hike today, but we can.
Yeah. Ladies, we're outdoorsmen. We went on a hike.
Was it romantic? Did you pick a picnic?
So, well, our my wife and his girlfriend were there, so it was not as romantic as it could have been if it had just been the two of us.
Yeah, it wasn't white boy summer; it was white couple summer. Yeah. So basically, BC has been in when did it start? November? No, it couldn't have been that long ago. It was like
it was November when they started the don't go to houses, don't go
the circuit breaker shit.
Yeah, but the restaurant thing started in March.
Oh yeah, it
was right before spring break, right?
Yeah, there was no dining at restaurants, and that was called like they had said, like Tex said, the circuit breaker. And Horgan, was that yesterday? He was just like, "Oh, looks like on Tuesday our circuit breaker is going to be done," and everybody's like, "But nothing's changed. Why would it be done?" And it's funny because through the whole thing, Horgan's basically hands off. Like at Christmas, he showed that he didn't know the rules. He's like, "I'm going to go hang out with friends," and they're like, "You're not allowed to do that. That's against the rules." I thought you had said, because it's been Bonnie Henry, the doctor, who. She's not even like an official position. I thought she was just like sort of like a liaison or whatever, like
she's a
whatever.
Spokesperson.
Sorry?
She's a spokesperson. She's a talking stick.
Mm-hmm. So she's usually the one who's been saying everything, and Horgan's been hanging out in the background. I call him like Horgan, the stepdad who's trying to be everybody's friend. So he's like coming on a little strong and too awkward. He's like, "Hey, you kids want pizza for your party and all this stuff?" So he comes in, he like wants to like glom up all the good guy vibes and be like, "Hey, I think it's going to be over because I'm your premier." And then everybody's being like waiting for mom to actually tell us what's going to happen on Tuesday. Cause they're like, "Sure, Horgan, we don't believe you at all. We'll wait for Bonnie Henry to tell us what's actually going to happen."
Well, I think it's he's if things are going the way he's suggesting, this is sort of the maybe amends to what he did. They did, the whole group did the previous couple of announcements, where they like the night before New Year's Eve and like the night before, what was it, like Valentine's Day, like people are like, restaurants, businesses are ordering things thinking they're going to be in business, and then like the next day they're supposed to be shut down, and they've got reservations and they've got food, that's going to, now they've ordered it, they can't send it back, it's going to go bad. If they are going in the right direction, the open direction on Tuesday, this is a nice heads up so that people can businesses, restaurants can reorder and stock up in preparation for it. But if he's saying shit out of line, like he has been, then people might be jumping the gun and spending money and suffering more losses if they don't announce what they hinting they're going to announce on Tuesday. Because there's a lot of hinting. It's not a lot of concrete shit.
I don't think if any restaurant owner,
like I have to wonder.
Yeah. Sorry, you go ahead, Derek.
Well,
Derek, are you on a
say I have to wonder how many people are like waiting for the. My internet's shit in the bed, so I don't know how awkwardly this is. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're on a delay, so I'm just gonna wait for you to say what you want.
Okay, I'm gonna go now. I have to wonder how many businesses are waiting for like the official announcement, because nobody really trusts what comes out of Horgan's mouth now. It's like some of the stuff he said has been in contract. Like Bonnie Henry is clearly in fucking charge of this province at this point. Like I don't know what Horgan is doing, or if he's being briefed beforehand, but like I feel for a lot of businesses because they're kind of getting tossed a lifeline here. But like, how trustworthy is it that they're going to be allowed to open at whatever capacity? And like, you can't just be, if you're a restaurant, you can't just be like, well, we're ready to serve fucking at 25% capacity now. Like you have to have your staffing, you have to have food order, you have to have drink order, you have to have all that shit ready to go. And I don't know that a lot of people, maybe they're going to run the risk, but I don't know if I would trust this administration at all at this point.
No.
Yeah, no, that's basically exactly what I was going to say. It's like anybody who's had to sit through all the other times, like Tex said, where it's like, okay, we got our food, we're ready to go. And they're like, lay everybody off. It's fucking done. And they're like, shit. So I think everybody's going to be like, all right, we're not fucking buying our food order or hiring staff until it's like for sure. It's like after you've like made plans with that flaky friend like 5 times and they're like, oh, I'm gonna totally come out, make the reservations, let's go. And then you're like, and then you basically wait till they're there before you order food or whatever for them.
Yeah, that was a great analogy there, Dale.
Thanks. I'm quite good at them.
Did somebody hurt somebody in this podcast?
No, it's not anyone in particular. It's just
were you sub podcasting me? Is that what that was?
No, guys, I'm 40 and it's happened. It's been spread out throughout my friend group where enough people have flaked. But there's times when you're like, yeah, I'll go out. And then the time comes, you're like, God, I hope they flake. I don't want to leave my house. And then they do. And you're like, yes. But it's like, I don't know. It's like the one good thing about the pandemic is nobody's flaked on anybody, because if you are actually going to make plans with someone, you're like, yeah, let's fucking hang out. I've been inside all the time. So it's like, maybe the pandemic will actually be the cure for flakiness. Probably not, though.
No, it's encouraged mine. I'm constantly like, hey, you want to go for drinks? Oh, yeah, sure. Very soon. We're going to go out very soon. I'll see you very soon.
Very soon.
This is
yeah.
I live here.
Yeah. The weird thing too is I think a lot of people are learning to be like, oh, maybe hanging out in my house isn't as bad as I used to think it was. Like before the pandemic, we're all like, fuck, it's the weekend. We got to go out. We got to party. We got to do something, go see a movie, go hang out. And now it's just like, maybe staying in my house isn't that bad. It's like, And you just like maybe instead of spending money on going out, you spend more money on yourself and like making your house more comfortable to hang out in and stuff. And then you make it more of like a nest, so to speak.
You know, who'd have thunk that you know, in 6 months, 12 months, the first time I run into a friend randomly, it's in a garden. I saw Dale at Van Dusen last week.
Yeah, it's funny too, because it's like just a couple of dudes hanging out, and then we meet at the garden. It's like, oh hey, yeah, there's lots of nice flowers here, and it's funny, yeah. So that's
wildlife just around the yonder up that ridge.
Yeah, watch out, a coyote shit on the path. Don't step in it. We actually, it's funny because it's like, I don't know if like it's pandemic or whatever, but coyotes are a lot braver than they used to be. I don't know if they've just like moved in more, if there's more of them, but it's like there's this coyote in Van Dusen, and it kind of just like walked across the path, and it was close to people, and it just didn't give a fuck, and it just like squatted and pooped and then kept going. And it's like, is this like a
in the
pandemic
path, eh?
Yeah,
That's
right on the
move.
path.
Yeah,
it's the new honey badger.
Yeah, and then you like hear joggers keep getting bit in Stanley Park by coyotes.
Nature is healing.
Yeah. They're basically rat dogs are everywhere, and they're fucking, you can't get rid of them once they're there.
All right. On that note, speaking of rat dogs and who you can't get rid of, this has been episode 172 of Outrage Factory. Tex, thanks so much for joining us, man. Always a true pleasure having you around. Mm-hmm. And hopefully we can see you and go bowling or fucking something when this pandemic is actually over, assuming Horgan knows what the fuck he's talking about.
I want nothing more than all this bullshit to end. I mean, the numbers are way down. Just fucking... some states are fucking saying COVID's over. I mean, they can't just be making that up, can they?
I mean, we're all vaccinated. We can start making out together, right?
Yeah, we could spit each other's mouths. Let's go bowling and just...
I can't wait.
Just lick each other's balls.
Exactly.
I don't know if you could ever get COVID for that. I mean, your balls are at least 6 feet from your mouth, so I think you're okay.
Maybe your hangy balls, but not
mine. Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening. I've been your co-host, Derek Bolin. You can follow me on Twitter at Herder.
I've been your other co-host, Dale DeRuiter. You can follow me on the Twitter machine at SuperDalebot.
Tex, can people find you on the internet somewhere if they want to do such a thing?
Sure. I don't know.
Look for Tex.
Hey, Tex. If you don't get enough of my flower pictures on Instagram, Tex also posts flower pictures at, what is it, Whiskey Texas Foxtrot on Instagram?
Yeah, double S, Tex ass, Foxtrot.
Tex ass.
There you go. You'll get a double dose of flower pictures. He's a better gardener than me because I don't have the time or patience to do that. So, yeah. Do you give gardening tips at all?
No.
Start a podcast.
Yeah, start a gardener podcast. That'd be fun.
I don't know anything about gardening. I just get drunk and I put things in the dirt and I water them and I hope for that.
It works out okay for you?
Sometimes.
I mean, I'm not a gardening expert, but I'm pretty sure that's all there is to it anyway.
It's weather dependent. Water, sun, fertilizer.
Yeah.
Don't let the bugs kill a shit.
There you go. Gardening. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Gardening Tips with Tex. Hey, if you like the podcast, please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get that. If you really like the podcast, buy some merch or send Dale and I money directly. If you see us on the street, you can just hand us a fucking handful of crumpled bills. We don't give a shit. Give us some money. Dale, anything else?
We're even like strippers. You could just throw loonies and toonies at us.
Yikes. And until next week,
stay angry.